What's going on, everyone? So the Atlanta Hawks have made Bogdan Bogdonovic available for trade, and I personally think the Lakers should look to acquire him. I actually like the idea of bringing in a Clint Capela as well as a Bogdan Bogdonovic. I think that solves a lot of the Lakers' needs, and you could absolutely go do it. It's about $40 million in salary you would have to send out, which the Lakers could very well do. Get a center that also gives you some flexibility, gives you some, kind of adjustments in the offseason to kind of move some things around and do whatever you need to do. And then you go and get that just sharpshooter, 18-point-a-game guy that play on ball, play off ball, do a little bit of everything out there on the basketball court, bring him off the bench. I think he would solve a lot of the Lakers' bench issues. It'd be nice to still kind of get another point of attack guy or whatever. Could you maybe go look to get an IO or something, right? And from Chicago and give up a first or something? It just, to me, it boils down to what would you have to give up? I don't see the Lakers having to give up a first for Bogdan Bogdonovic, right? There's several guys that have already gone out or that are linked to other teams and stuff like that are just given contracts and age and all that stuff better and not going for that. So if you could get, say, Clint Capela and Bogdan Bogdonovic for a pick swap, right, or 2 seconds ideally. I don't know if they'd go for that because you're talking about essentially a second for each. But if you could do a pick swap, right, and maybe a second, I wouldn't be against that at all. Right, and then you still have a first or both your first and could go do other things. Now, I know people are going to say, well, Atlanta owns our pick. Why would they want to help us? Because the pick's not going to be good anyway, right? So instead of it being the 20th pick, it's the 23rd pick because we got Bogdan Bogdonovic and Clint Capela. I don't think Atlanta really cares. Their season's cooked. Their season's done. For them, it's just about getting assets at this point, getting whatever assets you can for the future. Right, so they're done, they're cooked, they're washed. Why not recoup as many assets as you can? They're losing their pick to San Antonio anyway, right? So at this point, they need to kind of continue and stay the course, get the pieces that they need, right? If they can get some more assets for the Lakers, the pick this year that they own from the Lakers is a bad pick either way, so it doesn't matter to them. Right? They got their kind of core nucleus for now and the future, and Dyson Daniels, Riz Shea, Trae Young, and then, Jalen Johnson, right? He ends up getting hurt. He's out for the season, which hurts them. But these vet guys, it makes sense for them to start getting whatever assets you can. So, to me, I think if you can do it, I think you do it. Now, how does that break down? And then we'll go over the numbers and all that stuff. Well, Clint Capela this season is making $22.2 million. Let's just call it $23 million to be safe, because remember, Lakers got to send out more money than they take back. Well, what about Bogdan Bogdonovic? Well, Bogdan Bogdonovic this season makes $17.2 million. So let's call it $18 million to be safe. So roughly $41 million, right, that you'd have to send out in order to go and acquire both players, which the Lakers could absolutely still do, absolutely get that done if they wanted to. Now, again, Clint Capela, he has the expiring contract, so he gives you flexibility. But what does Bogdan Bogdanovic's contract look like the rest of the way? Well, he's making $16 million next season, and then $16 million as a club option at 34 years old in 2026, 2027. So doesn't give you the flexibility next year, but it does give you the flexibility the year after. But if you wanted to, you could actually trade him as an expiring contract because he's a club option. So if somebody became available, right? So you could make these moves, get these two guys, and then in the offseason, you could clear salary off with Clint Capela. If it works, you could re-sign him, keep him around. If it doesn't work, no big deal. You let him walk. You clear $20 million off your books, right? And now you have a Bogdan Bogdonovic who, again, if it works, beautiful, which in theory it should. Him slotted alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis is exactly what you need him to be. He's basically a more experienced Dalton Connect, right? He's what we're hoping Dalton Connect could be is essentially what Bogdan Bogdonovic is, a guy that go get you 18 a night. But the fact that he is an expiring contract really helps the Lakers a ton, or is club option the third year, right? Gives the Lakers a lot of options because, again, if they need to make a trade or they want to make some move in the offseason or whatever, now they have that contract that they can look to leverage to go and make that move or do whatever they need to do. Bogdan Bogdonovic is 32 years old. So he's not like super young, but he's not old, right? 32 is still a good time, especially for his style of game. He's not this like super hyper athlete or anything like that. Guy that can slot in essentially as your 2 guard as well as your 3. Basically, again, Dalton Knecht gives you again, more experienced Dalton Knecht, a guy that's been there, done that for what you need. But you look at him this year, his numbers are down. He's played in 24 games this year. He's averaging 25 minutes per game, which is down from 30 minutes last year. He's averaging 9.3 field goal attempts, which is down again from 13.9. Because again, he's kind of the odd man out. They have a ton of wings and depth and two-way guys now, right? He's not really known as like a two-way guy, right? He's more of a scorer, a bucket getter. But his down. Field goal percentage is 37.1%, which is atrocious. He's only shooting 30% from three-point range this season, which again is not great, but he is a career 38% three-point shooter on volume, 6.5. Shooting 6.1 attempts, which again is down from last year where he shot 8.1 attempts and shot 37.5%. He is shooting 50% from 2-point range this year on 3.3 attempts compared to 50.3% last year on 5.8 attempts. So again, down again. He's shooting 88% from the foul line. He is a career 85% foul shooter. He is averaging 2.8 rebounds compared to 3.4 last year, 2 assists compared to 3.1 last year. He's averaging 1 steal compared to 1.2 last year, half a block, and 10 points per game, where last year he was 16.9. I actually think he could get closer to that 16.9, personally. That's just me. I think, because, again, he's going to be slotted. One, he would be needed. He's a guy that would absolutely be needed for his shooting and his ability to come off of screens and pin downs and all that stuff. Like, JJ, I think, could open him up a ton, right? And on top of that, again, you're playing alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So the quality of looks, the quality of opportunities that he would get, I just think would be better than what he's getting on Atlanta right now. So I could see him kind of getting back to that, 15 to 18 range potentially, which I think could go a long way for the Lakers as a piece off the bench, and then also you go get your backup center. Now, is it my favorite thing, right? Like, is it like that's the move that the Lakers need to make? Lock it in. Let's go, Rob. Make the call. No, right? I still think that there are other moves that I would prefer, right? I still think there are other options out there. But if you told me, worst case scenario, push comes to shove, everything else fell through, we ended up with Bogdan Bogdonovic and Clint Capela at the trade deadline. Sounds pretty good to me, right? Like, I think that that's a move that absolutely makes us better. I think you get a legit, proven sharpshooter, bucket getter, a guy that can self-create a little bit. He's not like, KD out there or anything like that, but he's a guy that can self-create, get to his spots, right? He's, again, more experienced, more polished Dalton Knecht. Right? So give us that. Also, I think he could help Dalton Knecht learn a ton. I think he could really help Dalton Knecht kind of continue to evolve his game and just find ways to be a little more, because it could be a good mentor for Dalton Knecht out there. I know a lot of people think Dalton Knecht's the next Klay Thompson, and he very well might be, but even if he becomes the next Bogdan Bogdonovic, that's still a really good position. Right? And he's made a career and a lot of money by being that guy and has been a very key piece on multiple teams. So again, like, if you can turn him into that, right? Like, I think that'd go a long way. You get your center. You still maintain, because again, you kind of look at all the moves that the Lakers have been linked to and all the conversation that the Lakers have been linked to. Almost all of them involve maintaining flexibility. This move, again, maintains flexibility. Like I mentioned, the Clint Capela being an expiring contract, and then Bogdan Bogdonovic, you could operate as expiring salary. So you basically have a $16 million expiring contract that you can now leverage in an offseason for a trade, for a piece, whatever, right? And it's something that you could look to maybe to unload and package. That is something that I think could make some sense and go a long way for the Lakers. Again, it's not my favorite move. It's not the move that I think the Lakers should be rushing to the door to go get. But it just adds another kind of pairings, right? I've talked about how there's all these pairings. Right, like Jeremy Grant and Robert Williams, right? Like Lonzo Ball and Nikola Vucevic, right? Like a Kyle Kuzma and a Jonas Valanciunas, a Bruce Brown and a Jakob Poeltl, right? Like, you look at all these teams, and there's multiple guys that the Lakers are interested in. Why? Because it's easier to kind of get everything done in one trade than it is do this trade over here, and this trade over here, and this trade over here, and this trade over here, because this team wants this, and this team wants the same thing, and then this team wants the same thing, and it becomes difficult, right? Now you're counting on other teams to kind of lower their price. It's just where if you can find one team that's like, hey, you have multiple guys that we like. That's why, like, Chicago, I think, is a really good kind of hub for us, right? Because they have multiple pieces, multiple guys that I think that they could just bring in, right? But if you can kind of find those pieces, then I think that that's the better approach. And Atlanta just gives you another option there with several key places. I would still want a Hunter. I still prefer DeAndre Hunter, but so far, no word on that. Bogdan Bogdonovic is available. So look to go get Bogdan Bogdonovic and Clint Capela. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you love the idea? Hate the idea? Kind of mixed in the middle? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.